Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is Designed Resilience, the corner of the internet where we talk about building daily habits and practices so that you have the resilience you need when things are amazing or the stamina to withstand things that are difficult. And today's topic is under the pillar of financial stability, and it's about buying assets. And so I did not grow up with open conversations around finances. Um, Actually, my parents fought a lot about money. And so I had to seek out education for how to earn money, how to manage money, how to save money, how to invest it. I had to learn all of that through different sources. And one of my favorite ways to learn is reading. And so while I would say a majority of my financial education has come from the Dave Ramsey systems, I've also read books by Ramit Sethi. I read Suze Orman. I just recently read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Um, and that was a book that I had heard, wasn't the greatest because the author has, after kind of writing this book and promoting seminars where he talked about how to use his systems, actually ended up in a lot of debt and did not live out a lot of the promises that the book made. So I kind of didn't pursue that book right away. But I have large reading goals every year. And I thought, well, I've learned everything that I know about building a financially stable house and lifestyle and all of that from books. So why don't I see what this author, Robert Kiyosaki, has to say? So I read the book, and there were some definite nuggets of gold and wisdom in the book. And one of them was something that I had been coming to sort of naturally in my own life, but it was great to see it written in a book. And it was this idea of buying assets with your money. So when you earn money through your job, you want to use that money to buy assets. And so as he explains this perspective on how to spend the money that you earn from your regular job, the way that I'd been arriving at that decision myself was when Chris and I moved up to Colorado. We brought a lot of our things, and we've decided since moving here that we want to downsize. And so we took advantage of a neighborhood garage sale, and we put a lot of the things that we didn't want to take with us when we downsized into the garage sale. And it was crazy to see our driveway and our garage covered in things that we had purchased that we enjoyed go for literal pennies on the dollar, because that's what they're worth after we've paid for them and we've used them. They didn't actually have resale value. They were valuable to us because it was things that we wanted, whether it was clothing or decor or some of Chris's tools or things like that. So they were valuable to us because we got to use them. But when we tried to resell them, they weren't worth anything to anybody else. And so I was beginning to get this feeling that I don't want to buy things that don't either last me a really long time so that their cost per use is very low, or that don't retain their value, that they don't have value for resale if I ever needed the money or if I ever decided I wanted to do something different. And so my own life was showing me that there's more value in buying assets than in just buying a bunch of things that won't help create financial stability for me. Because if I need to sell them because I need cash, or, just happen to be selling things because we're downsizing, that's not going to help me in the future. And so I adopted this perspective of, yeah, it is more helpful when creating a financially stable environment to use the money that you earn to buy things that will make you money in the future. And so Something that's probably very common in an asset for most of us is investing that money. So whether you are using your company's 401k to invest money, or you have a brokerage account, or maybe you're trading stocks, or you have other types of financial investments, those are assets that you're using your earned money to buy because they retain their value. Often they grow value. And so when you need to use cash flow, you can sell those investments and have that money be used in a way that's going to make you more money in the future. Other assets the book talked about were buying businesses. And so, as someone who did not come from a family that does that or didn't really have experience with it, it made me curious. And there are small business exchanges and databases where you can look. And so went to Google and put in my area and small business marketplace, and found that there are all kinds of businesses for sale for, you know, $200,000, $600,000, just to explore and see. So things like laundromats and liquor stores and lawn care businesses and salons and just all kinds of businesses that are for sale. And that's not something I ever thought about. I certainly don't have the money to go buy one right now, but if I wanted to, if I already have my housing taken care of and I'm able to save or have my investments grow to where there's money to buy things, that's an option. So a business that already exists and already has customers is an asset because it's going to grow and mature over time. So you're spending your earned money on something that's going to grow. Real estate is a common one. So people buy their homes and they appreciate in value. And as they pay off the mortgage, they earn equity. So these are things that over time grow. And I really liked that idea. Now, obviously, you have to buy things that depreciate. You have to buy vehicles for transportation. Most of us do anyway. You got to buy clothes. You have to buy furniture for your house and things like that. But what this philosophy has made me kind of shift my thinking about is that when I do buy those items, that they should be high quality so that I can use them for a very long time. And so when I'm spending money on things that are not going to retain their value over time, I am being very thoughtful. I am focused on cost per use as opposed to the initial outlay. So I'm not as worried about how much I'm spending immediately, but I'm thinking about how long this article of clothing is going to last, or how long this couch is going to last and not get ruined. And it changed my perspective on what I want my money to do for me. So I've gone kind of through a big arc with this idea. It's probably why I didn't read Rich Dad Poor Dad until now, because I probably wasn't ready for the lesson. But when Chris and I got out of debt in 2019, and we both started making more money, partially because we didn't have debt payments to pay, but also because our jobs increased. I was very focused on being able to buy the things that I hadn't been able to buy while we were paying off our debt. So clothes and bags, and I even got hair extensions and, just things that were consumer based, things that weren't going to hold value. And so while I really enjoyed that phase of life and I had a good time doing that, I have seen what that kind of spending does. It doesn't hold value. And I want to be more financially stable as I get older. And so I have decided to focus on buying assets with the money that I earn from my job, whether that is paying down a mortgage so that equity grows in the house that we are paying for, investing, regularly and consistently. So those dollars become dollars that make more dollars. Or, planning for the future to invest in real estate or business and find ways to make my money grow and stay in the future, as opposed to, for me, emotionally spending to get instant gratification and then later realizing that those things don't keep their value. So, all that to say, um, definitely continue to seek new and interesting ways to manage your finances. I love to read and get different perspectives and test them against my own beliefs to see what I will keep with me and what I will decide not to adopt. And consider that as you earn money from your job and you take care of the basics, the four walls, you have your shelter, your utilities, your food, and your transportation, you take care of those pieces of life, that when there's extra, that you think about how that money can work for you by becoming invested in an asset. I'm excited about this journey, and I'll tell you how things develop. But what assets have you bought or would you like to buy? I'd love to know. And I'll see you next week.